All right, so we'll just jump into it, I guess. My name is Lucy Belville, and I'm a realtor here in the Willamette Valley. My Instagram handle is Willamette Valley Homes, and I'm excited for all of you to meet my hometown of McMinnville, starting with Ben Stuart. So, Ben, we're here sitting at Pizza Capo. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got involved with Pizza Capo and your role here?
Yeah, Pizza Capo opened in 2019. A couple of very talented pizza makers collaborated with Jeremy White and Kyle Monroe, are the Pizzaolos, collaborated with Scott Cunningham, who's a longtime area restaurateur, operated and owned Community Plate for a long time.
An all-time favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. McMinnville legend. So the three of them collaborated to open Pizza Capo in 2019. And I had worked at Community Plate for Scott for a while through my high school experience. It was kind of just like my high school gig. And when they were opening this, they hired me as a server. I'd never worked in a dining room before or in a table service restaurant before, but immediately was hooked and felt like I had a lot of the skills already. Just was good at it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Something, right?
Absolutely. What were some of the challenges that presented, like working from another job and switching over to something like a full service restaurant?
A million things. Like, you work in a dining room, you know that you have to like always kind of be creating like a mental to-do list and then like checking those things off. Every time you forget something, then that's an apology you go have to make to someone. Or maybe you can save yourself by being slick about it. But
all well, probably trying to maintain the chaos.
Right. And downtown McMinnville gets busy in the summer, so we opened in May, and I was on the opening team through September, working 5 days a week. And then I moved up to Portland. I was still working here part-time through the end of the year, took a little break, and then when COVID started, I ended up coming back. There were a lot more restrictions on restaurants in Portland than down here, so I was driving back down here on weekends to help with the original dine outside format. So.
Absolutely. I remember coming here often during COVID to get takeout and walk back to the house with it and enjoy it. What's your role here?
So I then kind of, worked helping out as I could coming down from Portland, but in 2021, I moved back down here to be closer to my family and started managing the dining room. And after about a year and a half of that, I knew that this is where I wanted to be, and restaurants were an industry I wanted to make a career out of. So I approached the guys and asked if I could buy into the restaurant. So now I'm a business partner here as well.
How exciting.
I still manage the dining room. The role is technically hospitality manager.
Yeah, absolutely.
But kind of everything front facing. So I run the social media and take phone calls, all that stuff. Train this and facilitate this dining room staff, this wonderful staff that we have, and also manage the beverage program. So
that's a lot.
On and off, bought the wine, bought the beer, facilitated some really talented bartenders in the development of our cocktail program too. So.
Absolutely. I've had many a cocktails here and I've never been disappointed. In fact, I've always wondered about how to make a few. So that's awesome. If you had to give yourself at 16 years old some advice, what would that be?
I would, some advice.
It's so hard.
I would, I did a lot of things in high school and as a teenager that I thought like I needed to do to like get to a certain place, but I didn't necessarily like doing them. I just tell myself to do more things that I like than instead of doing things that I don't like,
Yeah, to fit into some sort of, like you see it everywhere, like the timeline or whatever to fit into. And I think that we're all guilty of like trying to idealize this linear thing of life and try to make something out of it, even if it doesn't quite fit into our vision. And I think that a lot of people can relate with that, especially as a 16-year-old.
Right. And as a 16-year-old, you're not even knowing what your vision is. You get someone else's plan in your head.
Yeah, absolutely. Even as a 25-year-old, not knowing what
Right.
you're doing. So
Seriously.
I think there's nothing wrong with that. And as a 16-year-old, do you think you'd take that advice? Or do you think you'd think, I think I should probably keep doing these things just in case?
I don't know. I don't think anyone really ever told me to like slow down. So maybe I would.
Yeah. I think slowing down and taking in the moment is some of the best advice I've ever received. And yeah, go, go, go is, it's not a bad thing by any means, but it's definitely important to take in and take a deep breath every now and then.
Yeah. To focus your energy on like one thing you love instead of 6 things that you kind of like. How much of yourself can you give to everything that you do is dependent on how many things you have going on. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. Spreading out all your eggs instead of putting all your eggs in one basket, right?
Right.
So other than this world of Pizza Capo, what are your favorite hobbies outside of this in hospitality and leadership?
I love living here in McMinnville. I love, my partner and I go for walks all the time, just walking around town, walking downtown. We love popping in the antique stores and popping in all the different restaurants. And, I play pickleball when the weather's nice and run every once in a while. Read, but only stuff that I've bought at Third Street Books. So I really just like basking in this town that I get to call home.
Going back again to when you were younger, did you think that you would be back here living your life?
Oh, no way. I thought I would be in a bigger city. I think I really wanted to get out of Dodge. I don't think McMinnville is a place that really caters to young people as far as like tangible things to do. But I do have a really lovely community here as an adult, and there's plenty of things for adults here to do. But that community was started when I was a kid, right?
Absolutely.
And I have a lot of those relationships, including our relationship.
Yeah,
so,
for sure. I relate to that a lot. I feel like as a kid, you'd walk down 3rd Street and, you could pop into the chocolate shop and get some chocolate, but like there really wasn't a lot to do here for children.
Right.
And now, like, not to say that growing up here wasn't fantastic, there's an awesome school system, and from that, like, have made so many connections and friends, and a lot of people have left and come back here, which says a lot about the life here in McMinnville. It's something that people can't let go of for very long.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so this is a fun one. I've worked in hospitality before, and you kind of like look forward to seeing certain people, right? So you don't need to name names or anything, but who is a customer who you always look forward to seeing, or someone who brightens your day when they come into Capo? And you can explain them and whatever, or if you want to give names, by all means, you can give names.
Man, a regular that always brightens my day, I think.
Or somebody passing through, or another business owner, or,
Yeah, no, what really makes me happy, and it's not even someone that necessarily like we see very often, although it really does like make me happy when you have a first-time customer and then you see them a couple more times and they turn into a little bit of a regular, and then maybe you don't see them for a while, and that's totally makes sense because eating out is a luxury and people can't always afford that, whether it's their time or their money. But when they come back after you haven't seen them in a while, you're like, they were thinking about Pizza Capo, whether it was the food or whether it was me or another person on our team. Like they were thinking about us and they wanted to come back.
Of course.
So that really brightens my day. But also, and I just saw a lot of this during the holidays, but like people, I love that we kind of have a place where you don't have to like put on some mask and like come and like shell out $400 to hang out here. This is a place where people will just come and be with their people, whether that's their family or friends or I love just like watching people gather and giving people an outlet for that. So
I think over the holidays too, you see groups big and small, and I think that there's something about just like seeing everybody together with their family, even if they haven't seen their family for a while and they choose here to see everybody. That's such a compliment to you guys, and it really makes gathering here such a fun place and a fun environment to be in.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course, yeah. What menu items are your personal favorites? And then aside from that, what menu items are items that people like have to try if they come here?
Have to try here. Well, my business partner Kyle Monroe is the executive pizzaiolo here. He's the dough wizard, and it's just like spent a lot of time making VPN certified pizza, which is like
Top of the knot.
This
Top
is
of
how
the
they do it in Naples. And so some of his advice to me when I like first started here was that anytime you go to a pizza place, you order the margarita right off the bat. As you're sitting down, you order the pizza margarita. It gives you a good sense of the quality of the dough, the quality of the marinara, the quality of the cheese, and then the basil is also like the quality of the produce they're using.
Of course.
So always start with the marinara. Pardon me, the margarita, which is on our happy hour menu too. So if you come in early enough, you start with that, and then you kind of get the rest of your meal. But pizza margarita, I love our mushroom pizza. It's such a great a fungi pizza is a very Italian thing, but it's also such an Oregonian thing.
Of course, especially being right here in the middle of like Mushroom Valley.
Yeah, and it pairs great with a glass of like local wine, a glass or a bottle, however you want to play it. So
neither are a bad choice.
Yeah, I think those are my two favorite pizzas. The arancini will change your life if you've never had an arancini. I think a lot of East Coast people are familiar with it, but it's not something that I was
Explain to us
with.
what that is, because some people might not be familiar.
Yeah, it's a fried ball of risotto. Traditionally, it's street food. Like you would get it at like a hot dog cart. You wouldn't go to a restaurant and sit down and order it, but we zhuzh it up a little bit, and it does hit that like spot in your heart where it's like, this is like fried, cheesy, like street food, but it's also like, this is good enough to be enjoyed forever. So
and it's gone in an instant.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those things that it lands and it is scooped up immediately.
Right. And it's fun to show to people who like don't know it. They're like, oh, what is that?
Well, because you almost feel wrong like breaking into it
too.
And then, okay, you talked about wine a little bit and being the beverage director here. What are your favorite cocktails on the menu, or what are some fun cocktails that you done a mixology, whatever, on in the past couple of years that you had a tie to and you really like?
Tie to, well, I mean, I will say we do, like working here, I've really gotten hooked on espresso. And this is maybe a cliche answer, but like we make the best espresso martini that you'll have anywhere, and part of that is the espresso we use from Summit. It's locally roasted and done with care, and part of it is the Borghetti, the espresso liqueur that we use that's very Italiano, and but also just the attention to detail that our bar team has. Brian, our lead bartender, and Caleb, that they're not going to put out a cocktail that tastes bad. So espresso martini, I'm a Campari nut, and I've started drinking a bunch of Negronis, as well as I just love a Campari soda. And then it's been really fun to like develop our digestif menu as well. So we have a lot of different Amari, so kind of Italian, those like bitter herbal digestifs, Fernet and Braulio, and so they play a lot with those different Amari, but I also just like drinking them neat.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, I mean, being exposed to the wine industry and having all of this at your fingertips since you were little, have you noticed that since you've been working here, like your palate's developed in a different way than you expected?
Definitely. Obviously, like growing up, drank a lot of Pinot Noir, but that's kind of all I knew. And I wasn't particularly like over the moon about it. I think it's just because it was so like pedestrian in my life. But being exposed to the world of Italian wine here has been a lot of fun. I think my palate really leans toward Italian wine. And it's just, it's a lot of fun to learn about. All the different rules and regulations and traditions are really fascinating, but also like Sangiovese is such an awesome varietal, Nebbiolo is such an awesome varietal, and to see all the different things that Italians do with it,
of course,
and how it is like made with food in mind is really fun as well. So.
Yeah, it encourages that pairing aspect to all of it, and it makes it more fun to drink and more fun to eat your food too.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny, like being on the wine side and like being so exposed to Pinot Noir all the time. Like I haven't really jumped into other worlds, but I'm sure it's similar, like learning the more you know, the more you don't know. And it just kind of every time you learn something, it scratches a little itch, and then you want to learn more and learn more and learn more.
Right. Yeah. You have like 10 more questions for everything you learn.
Yeah. Tell us the funniest memory you've had, either with the Pizza Capo crew or at Pizza Capo.
Funniest memory.
Or something that comes to mind that just kind of makes you chuckle.
I don't know. We have fun here. It's really fun coming to work and being with like, I mean, we have a pretty young crew here, so there's always a lot of energy, and you know, if people aren't having a good time working here, then they don't, you know, that's okay, and they go and find something hopefully that they are having a good time with. But no, we just laugh a lot. There's a million jokes like Capo is an acronym for such and such.
Yeah,
and,
of course.
You know, but also just we have a lot of fun like laughing at the mistakes we make, I think, which is really healthy for a work environment for a team. So.
Yeah, I think that if you can find a way to create humor out of those mistakes and still learn from them and grow from them, it's a great way to do it. Seriousness can be really helpful in times, but also humor and laughter is a great way to approach learning in general.
So sorry, I don't really have a funniest memory, but
it's okay.
I mean, like I'm always like anyone in my crew will tell you that I break more glasses than anyone else here. So
well, I mean, if you're working with beverages, it's bound to happen, right?
Right. And it's important to just be like, you know, I don't break glass on purpose, but just, you know, if someone's new to the industry and they drop a glass and they like have like a paralyzing moment on the floor, like I'm happy to go do that like 20 minutes later and be like, it's not that big a deal.
Exactly.
We keep moving.
Yeah. So. Show them that, you know, there's seriousness to it, but you know, there's a time and a place for it. So that's pretty, I mean, also let's invite everybody out to make their own memories here and laugh with you guys.
Definitely. Yeah. You know, we want that as part of the tableside experience.
Yes. Next question. So who's somebody within this community or in your life that has helped you find this passion for hospitality and community within, I don't know, this industry, like I said, or this community? Who's somebody that comes to mind?
Man, easy to talk about. My mom, just as that person. Said earlier when we were talking about how I was getting into Pizza Capo that like I just felt like I had a lot of these skills inherently, and those came from her. I mean, we were always having either I was helping out with our Stuart and Co stuff, or our Stuart and Co stuff was bleeding into our home, or she was just inviting people into our home. But I was setting the table, ironing napkins, chopping vegetables. And then, you know, when guests would come, go answer the door, take their coat, you know, make conversation, say hello. So, I think it's part of why I love this work so much. She's gone, but I feel like I'm still close to her in my work. There's a joke when my mom used to come in to dinner here. Every time I would be like serving her, I would like drop some silverware or something, and then the kitchen would make fun of me for that. Like, oh, are you nervous because your mom's here? So no, every time I like drop silverware, I'm like, oh, mom's here.
Yep, so
absolutely. That's
a nice memory. I never knew her personally, but she was a mom to everybody in the community and a great host from what I've heard. So
So
what an amazing thing to be a part of, and you know, something to remind you of her too is always a great thing to have.
Definitely.
Thank you for sharing that too.
Yeah, of course.
So music, podcasts, books, and TV. Which one do you pick, and what setting are you in when you pick them all?
Like most of the time it's music. I have either my headphones in or a speaker going or something, and driving in the car, obviously.
You're a top Spotify listener?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I've never really gotten into the podcast. There's a couple podcasts that I listen to casually, but definitely music first. I love kind of just like creating that almost like an ambiance or an atmosphere.
Yeah,
like
setting
for
a
myself.
vibe.
Yeah. Make you feel like the main character a little bit, right?
Of course, we all need that.
Yeah. And then movies for sure. Just it's nice to like go home, watch a movie, pretend like you're somewhere else for a little bit. Theater's really fun too. I love that there's like good movies in the theater again.
Yes, Absolutely. I think that post-COVID, the production has now ramped up again, which is
Definitely.
fantastic for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I went out to see like Sonic,
Mhm.
Nosferatu, Wicked, all this good stuff. But then books too. I mean, great way to. I'm very young, and I think I have a lot to learn, and obviously, so. But I'm also like in one place now, right? I've bought into this restaurant. I'm in this
Settled
restaurant.
into this area.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but just because I can't go work different places and gain new experiences doesn't mean that I can't like learn from new places.
Mhm.
So I've read some very important books to me in terms of um, being a leader, being a good person, whether that's hospitality oriented, business oriented, or even just about life.
Yeah,
So
memoirs and things like that.
I love reading a book to like wind down at the end of the day.
Of course, yeah. Reading a few pages at the end of the night is always a good way to wind down, but also, engage that mindset of learning something new the next day.
Absolutely.
Speaking of that, though, do you have any books that come to mind that you recommend?
Yes. Shoot. What are the two books I read last year? The two books I read last year that really like stuck with me are first was Sacred Hoops, which is Phil Jackson, the coach of the Michael Jordan's like championship winning basketball coach, and kind of just his experience with those championship teams, and also
he was the one featured in The Last Dance, like that.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, with the big white beard, and he just was raised religious, but had a very kind of spiritual mindset, and applied that to his work. Really a fantastic leader, I think, and it was really cool to hear his story and his experience facilitating like very talented and very motivated people.
Well, and also keeping them motivated. I feel like sometimes when you're at the top, it's so easy to be content being at the top, and then you end up losing your spark. And for him to keep that team motivated and together for so long, like, what an amazing accomplishment.
Yeah. So that was a really, really great book I read last year. And then also Setting the Table by Danny Meyer, who is the CEO of Union Square Hospitality Group in New York City. So he opened Gramercy Tavern, 11 Madison Park, like all these big name restaurants, and just does it right. I mean, yeah, puts his team first and then his guests first, after that, and then, profit is last.
Yeah, having the priorities straight.
Right. And in a business where we're relying on people coming in the door, and we're relying on, especially in a place like McMinnville, where, if a server is done here, there isn't someone walking back in to replace them. Like, it's very important to me to nurture my relationship as a manager and our relationship as a business with our employees.
Well, and it shows. I mean, I feel like you guys have had very long-standing staff here. Like, the turnover rate is quite low, especially in the last, 2 years that I've come here, and seeing those familiar faces and being welcomed by them, whether it's people that I know from high school or working or things like that. Like, it's so nice to see those familiar faces over and over again and know who I'm going to see when I come here.
Yeah, and we're very proud of that. I mean, we want people to want to be here. I want to be here every day. It's not
and
sustainable,
you are. Just
but I am. And all my business partners do too. So to find a crew that wants to be here every day too. They resonate with our work, and they work hard and they want to be a part of this. That's really important to me. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Have you watched The Bear?
I've watched the first 2 seasons.
Okay.
I haven't watched the 3rd season yet.
Whenever I think of books and hospitality, I think of Unreasonable Hospitality, and he's reading it.
Yeah.
It's always a big hitter, I feel like.
I cracked that one open. I haven't finished it yet.
We'll have to get an update on it once you're done.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So.
Oh, man. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me. I do have one more question.
Okay.
Who should I interview in McMinnville next?
Who should you interview in McMinnville next?
Do you have a list of a couple people? We'll take that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like
now's the time to throw someone under the bus.
As far as like townies, I would say Aaron Stevenson, who's done such a great job with the Atticus Hotel and the Third Street Flats, and really done a great job with just setting the standard for what lodging looks like in the area.
What a change too from 10 years ago to now. It's been unbelievable.
Seriously.
For the better, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, Nick Barano would be an amazing interview, I'm sure. You know, just all of the decades of restaurant and food work that he's done in McMinnville. And, obviously, Nick's has changed hands now, but yeah, that'd be a cool interview.
It'd have to be done in a bar, though, a back bar.
Definitely over a game of pool.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then, man, shoot, as far as like people who are a little newer to the scene, I would love to hear an interview with Ben Denton and the crew over at Hi-Fi Wine Bar.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're doing such a cool thing over there.
They're killing it. Every time I go in there, it's like a full room of industry, but everybody's so incredibly connected in there, and it's just a fun space to be in.
Yeah, I think it's very important for the wine community here to have that space.
Totally. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Ben.
Yeah, of course.
And again, this is Ben Stuart. We're at Pizza Capo in McMinnville, and this was the first session to meet McMinnville.
Thanks, Lucy.
Thank you.